Hello everyone and welcome to this class where I'll be talking about V-Ray in SketchUp. So V-Ray is basically a rendering software. Alright, it works with various standalone softwares like Revit, 3ds Max and SketchUp 2. So in this video I'll be speaking about V-Ray 3.6. Alright, 3.6 and 3.4. These both are like similar versions of V-Ray software, but I'll be talking about the version 3.6 because I have it installed with me, and I use SketchUp 17, so that supports 3.6. So V-Ray is so what do I tell you about V-Ray? Alright, V-Ray is hands down the one of the best rendering softwares out there in the market. Yes, its competitors are Lumion, iRender, and a very few softwares that I can hardly recollect, and I can count them on my fingers. So V-Ray is hands down one of the best of them. As V-Ray, it gives you the capability to alter and edit even minute settings and properties of a material in a scene. So your rendering range varies from materials to entire scenes. Materials, if I am speaking about materials, there are two properties. There are two sides of the coin that I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about the micros and the macros. Materials, if I talk about the micros in a material, it will tell you about V-Ray will tell you about how deep in a material setting can you possibly go to alter its minute features, like a minor reflection or a specular reflection, or something as minute as the amount of light that falls on it. So from there, if that is your starting point, you can start from point A to altering settings in a complete scene, like adjusting the entire room's light settings in just a click, to adjusting the entire environment in an exterior render in just a click, just like that. So that is what the range of that is what the range is that V-Ray is offering. Now, it is definitely not the easiest software. It is a very what I would like to call it. It is a very trial and error based rendering output software, in which you need to test each and every property that you apply on a material. You need to test how good it is, how good it looks, and how precise it looks on the render. So basically, to know V-Ray well, you need to know your materials and your lighting well. Exactly. So to know, like I said, I'll repeat it once again. To know to render a quality product in V-Ray, you need to know your materials. You need to know your design through in and throughout. All right. The type of wood you will be using, the amount of translucency your glasses will have, the amount of reflectivity your wooden laminates would show, the amount of roughness your concrete wall surface will show once light falls on it, the intensity of light, the exact intensity of light that your interior lighting would have once the room comes live. Alright, so all that you need to keep in mind, and you need to work in specifications in V-Ray. There are no like flukes involved over here. If a render looks good, it looks good. That is the basic point of it, but you need to be specific in V-Ray. So now that we'll be starting with V-Ray 3.6. Yeah, so V-Ray 3.6, in the journey of V-Ray as a software, as a plugin. It is not a standalone software, it's a plugin. All right, that is one of the biggest, I might say, biggest properties of V-Ray, biggest characteristics of V-Ray is that it is a plugin. It is not a standalone software. You don't need you need a software to work with V-Ray, right? You need a base software. You need a standalone software like SketchUp or 3ds Max or Revit or whatever. So yeah, so V-Ray 3.6, in the journey of V-Ray from scratch, from version 1.3, since when I've been using it, 1.3, 1.7 something, from there to V-Ray 3.6 and 4.2 that we have today, V-Ray, the version 3.0 has been the greatest update of them all right. There they have, since V-Ray 3.0, they have integrated interactive rendering, which means that you can render your scenes the way you rotate your model, right? So there will be a render tab on your screen and your model, your actual model on the screen. The way now, if you imagine that you're rendering a scene, for example, if you rotate your model, all right, your render rotates with it, and the new scene is automatically set and it automatically starts to render that scene. It is amazing. It is amazing to look at such detail and such efficient work, being done all the time when you're using V-Ray. At the half the time, you're just awestruck as to what levels of details you have to go, what levels of complications you have to get into and deal with while you just sit there on your laptop and design and produce a render out in V-Ray, and then you'll be surprised at what product you get. So let's not consume any more time in speaking. Let's go to the software itself. Now, for using the software V-Ray, I have already taken out a view from one of my previous projects. A SketchUp model I'll be using for V-Ray. I'll be using V-Ray on SketchUp, so I have taken out a view already. Now, in this view, I'll be telling how a material is applied, how what do you call it, a synthetic or an external material is applied in SketchUp, and I'll also be telling you how to edit it using V-Ray and how the lights are edited. All right, how a light setting is changed to match with your material, right? And how the ready output is prepared through it. So let's jump in to SketchUp. Now I have this restaurant that I had designed previously some time back. So it is, now I want it to be, these walls, right? I want them to be in Rajasthani stone, but I need them to be in a random rubble masonry texture, right? You get it? So for that, I have already picked out a material which I would like my walls to be in. So this is the texture of the material which I want my walls to be in. All right. So I'll be putting this up in V-Ray, and I'll be editing this. Getting back over here, I have this material selected on my SketchUp. All right. I go to use texture image. I go to the location of my texture that I have saved. All right. I go here and I just go ahead and change the scale. Okay, no, that's too big. Yeah, that should be fine. All right. So this is the material that I've applied. Now I need to edit it, right? Before taking out a render, I will need to edit it. So I go to the V-Ray asset editor. Now the V-Ray plugin that we have on SketchUp, it comes out in three parts. All right. One is the asset editor and frame buffer part. The next one is the light and custom settings part, and the other one is the synthetic elements part. Right. I'll be dealing with all these three in my classes, which I'll be conducting later on from 26th. So in the material editor of V-Ray, right, material editor or asset editor, whatever you call it. So I click on it. Now it automatically shows me that the material that I have selected over here with my brush tool. Now I need to update this as I have just changed the texture in it. So I go to my paint bucket, I click on this, and this thing gets updated. See, it's gotten updated. Now all I have to do is add a few layers of edits. One of them being, alright, so all I have to do is add a few layers of edits. One of them being a little bit of reflection. Alright, I want my material to be slightly lustrous in texture. So for that, I just click on this plus sign and I go on the reflection layer. This layer comes up on it. Now I need to change these values, right? So how do I do it? I go down to the glossiness tab, right? Now in glossiness there's highlight and there's the reflect. So I reduce the highlight to around 6.4, and also the reflect I reduce it to around 5.4 or 4.5. Alright, 0.5. Now it shows me a real-time render of how my material is gonna look. Okay, so this, to me, if I see, it is a very 2D, it is a very flat surface that I'm looking at in this render. Okay, so I need a little bit of roughness to it. I need a little bit of texture, a little bit of the coarse texture that a stone has. I need that in this. So for that, I have another setting in my V-Ray itself, is that I can go ahead and add that exact texture, that exact roughness to it. It is called bump. Okay, so where will I find it now? I have three default layers to every material that I put on V-Ray. One of them is the V-Ray BRDF, which is basically the properties of that material. Okay, you never alter this. Just as a thumb rule, never alter the V-Ray BRDF material unless it is very much required for you to do so, and you cannot do it in any other way. Okay, and until that point comes in your life, never alter V-Ray BRDF. Okay, the second one is the options tab, which tells me about volume, fog, and reflections and shadows and whatnot. And then comes the maps. Now for the maps, okay. Now what are maps basically? Maps are these overlay layers which sit on top of a material and change the properties of the material according to what they want it to be like. Okay, and you can always configure these maps. There is bump, there is displacement, and there's overrides. For this video, for the sake of this video, I will only be talking about bump, as that is all we need today. So let's go to bump. Okay, first of all, we need to turn it on. So I turn it on. Now if you see, if I increase this, okay, just see if I'm increasing this, what is happening. It is showing me a slight texture, it is showing me a very hard texture to itself. Right now I don't want it to be that hard, so what I do is I reduce it to some extent. Yeah, I mean that looks fine to me, but still it is too deep, so I reduce it even more, a little bit more. That is just too light. I might as well put it as 1.2. Let's see. Yeah, that actually looks good. So keeping this in mind, I just go over here. Okay, now what was that I just clicked on? Let me go again, press back. Now texture. Okay, what texture of the bump do I need on this surface? If I click on this, there is a range of textures that will open up for me. Okay, one of them is bitmap. If I click on this, there's another side panel that opens up for me. So I have even more textures on this. Okay, there's bitmap. It basically states that you can use a custom image out of your own library, or you can download a custom image from Photoshop and you can use it as a bump on this software over here, right over here on this material. Okay, the next is texture blend. Okay, these are minor detailings in the material which you won't see, like as a whole in the V-Ray material sphere. Just like that, you will be seeing these in a very macro, in a very large, in a very overview sort of a manner. You'll be able to recognize these minor detailings, minor changes in the textures. Okay, so this is bulge. Now I can always alter the properties. I can alter the color offsets of this. If I want some noise in it, let me just phase this up to 4 point something. Alright, that is done. So if I go over here and let this be visible. Okay, so now that this texture has changed, it says to me that I have applied a specific bitmap to it, a specific texture to it. All right. Now these textures that the V-Ray software itself offers, these are not all the time the most specific ones to use in your design. So I would always suggest you to use your own materials with your own bitmaps, with your own textures. so that there is that originality in your design. It doesn't so that it doesn't your design doesn't look like it is made out of templates. Okay, that is a very important factor if you're a designer. I mean, no designer would want their design to look like a template. It is not a very good thing to say to a designer, for I just say. All right, so let me just clear this. I don't want this visible in my this thing. I'll just go to bitmap. All right, I want that bitmap. See, now once I click on bitmap, it automatically prompts me with a dialog box. Okay, so I go to my desktop where I have saved that. This is the bitmap that I'll be using. Okay, now I have a filter blur. So what filter blur does is that it moves the material on top, which is the bump. It moves the bump slightly away from the original base material, so that it due to which it looks a little blurred. Okay, so my shadow, my once the light falls on my material, the the scattering of light through the ups and downs of my material will be a bit soft, because it is blurring those lines of extreme surfaces. It is now this states that my material is not so edgy. It is a bit smooth surfaced. The curves, or whatever it is, the curves are a bit smooth and there are no rough edges to my material. This setting tells me that, but I don't want that in my material. I want them to be a bit rough, a bit edgy. I want them to look like it is as if it is made out of chamfered stone, and the chamfered stone is fixed in the wall, and this is just a rough masonry that I want it to look like. So I just reduce that value. It is 2.15 that it says over here. Let me just reduce it to 1.8. So I think, yeah, that should work. Now I go back. Did you notice a difference over here? I certainly did. So now my material is a bit more on the softer side, I would say. Now I can easily increase the multiplier. It is 1.2. Let me make it 1.35. So with V-Ray, we always play in decimals, in the second or in the third decimal point for as far as these bumps and these textures and these maps are concerned. As far as the lights are concerned, we always play with 4 to 5 zeros next to an IES light value. For example, if you put your light, if I am putting a light bulb like there is this one on the top of my roof ceiling, I would not keep its intensity to be 1.35 or 1.40 or something like that. I would make its intensity to be like 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs or 75 lakhs, right? Because the unit changes when you play with light. There are three different sets of units that the software offers. They are lumens, they are watts, and there's one more unit. I don't remember exactly. I'll have to see that. But yeah, there's three units that the software offers, and we are usually dealing with the third unit, which is let me just check this. So let's just dive inside this, get one back. Okay, I'm dealing with lumens. Intensity will be in lumens. You can see how big the value is. It's 1.5 lakhs, the value that I have kept of it. Alright, so now coming back to my material. Let me just go out there and unhide all the lights that I have put. So now these are my rectangular lights. Now that you have observed that these lights have the texture of my what do you call it, of my material, right? So that thing happens with SketchUp. It is a bit of a glitchy software, and there's not that is not like a big thing for you to mind, but you need to take care of it, that it doesn't happen as a good practice, as a measure of a good practice. But no worries. Now I change the scale of this by 10 times. I go back to this scene that I had set previously. You see that the value in this also has changed. The light is not the same as before. The texture on the light has changed. The scale has increased. The material has become a bit more blurred, right? So that was my asset editor for one of these materials. I'll do no other change, and I'll just go ahead and click on the render with V-Ray button. Okay, so once I press this, I will be getting a complete render, and let's begin. I just clicked on it, and this says V-Ray Bootstrap exporting textures. It takes like a minute to start the render, and it's begun. Okay, so there's one thing that I am observing in these renders is that the glass that I have, it is not as glossy as I would like it to be. Okay, so I will need to change that property of the glass. For that, I click on the brush tool, I click on the glass, and I go to reflectivity, the reflectivity layer that I had already set for this glass. Okay, and okay, it is not there, it looks like that. I will have to add a separate reflection layer to this. I go here, go over here, and turn the multiplier is good enough, even over here. Now what a multiplier does is that you can add a property to a material. The direct acting of a property on a material can be only to a certain extent. Okay, you need to have a multiplier after it to multiply, as the name suggests, multiply it even more times. Okay, for example, if my reflect is 1, if the value of my reflect is 1, which is like the highest in this case, my multiplier needs to be 1.6 or 1. Anywhere between 1.3 to 1.6 for that multiplier, for that texture or that glossiness effect to be visible on it. Okay, that is just how V-Ray works actually. So I go down, I need this to be glossy, right? I just increase the multipliers, the reflection, I make it black in color so that I have a bit dramatic effect in my render. Again, I make it black, this thing. So now that you see there's blackish tints to the glass, as it is a thick glass that we'll be using. This on the right hand side is a live kitchen, right? So I cannot have such soft glass over there. There's all sorts of smoke and all sorts of fumes that are rising over there, so I need to have like a sturdy glass. So I'll be changing that property of it. Now I will enter V-Ray BRDF. Okay, as for reflection, it takes me, it demands me to go into the BRDF setting. Okay, now if you have observed, let me just reduce the blackness of this, not this, this. Alright, that's just too dark for my liking actually. Alright, this should be good. Fine. Now with that being said, yeah, I just turned off the use Fresnel option in the V-Ray BRDF layer. Now what this does is, you'll just see the difference. Let me just turn it off once again. Okay, sorry, not this one. Now what it does is, it makes the material a bit more translucent. It makes the surface of the material a bit more receptive to light, and at the same time it alters the flow and reflection of light on it. Alright, now what does that mean? Once I turn it on, you'll see that the material has become a bit more transparent. Alright, just see to this. The material is much more transparent. There's a lot less amount of light falling or getting reflected from it. Alright, now once I turn this off, the amount of light that gets reflected from it increases dramatically. So this is an effect that I should be using for indoor glasses. Alright, Now the reflect, what color should my reflection be? I can keep it anywhere between this color to black, to jet black, alright. But I don't want black because it is an indoor glass, indoor piece of glass, so I don't want that. This should work exactly fine, just fine. Okay, so I just close this. I can go back to this, click on the render tab once again, save my settings. I just press Ctrl S. Yeah, you need to keep in mind, you need to always keep pressing Ctrl S. Once you render 5 materials, press Ctrl S. Once, then again 5 materials, then press Ctrl S. What it does, I'm telling you this because V-Ray is a very heavy software and I'm using a PC right now. That is why this model doesn't feel that heavy. But if you are using a big file, or if you have a lot of materials edited on your V-Ray scene, and you're using like a primitive machine or a medium density, medium strong machine, you will need to keep saving your changes because V-Ray tends to make SketchUp crash, and that don't send error report, that dialog box appears on the top of your screen, and all your progress will be lost, and you'll have to render your material, alter your materials once again. So see, now the glass has changed. Okay, now it has become more reflective for my liking, and the bamboo is visible inside on the other side of the glass earlier, which was not possible. Okay, so this is what V-Ray does to your scene. It changes your scene so minutely, and you need to alter such a lot of detail to actually reach that point in your render where you go like, okay, now this is looking good. Okay, so that the process is very time consuming, and you need a lot of practice to reach that stage. So for this video I only edited one material out of the entire model, and that took me around 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, now just imagine the number of materials in this model. Like there is this polished copper, there's this wooden bamboo, there's lighting all over, there's copper crockery hanging from the bamboos, there's wooden texture, wooden trunk tables, there's all sorts of wood and black marble used in this. And just imagine the amount of time that I would have needed to spend just to render this one scene. Okay, that is a lot. I mean, it takes almost around 2 to 2.5 hours to render like a good scene on V-Ray. Now if you just go into, I'll do one thing. I have this render prepared. Okay, so let me just open that for you. I am stopping this render right here. I have a good post-processed render with me, which is already ready. So this is how it should be looking. Okay, this is how the light from above falls on it, and this is how the light enters those crevices, and that reflectivity, that soft reflectivity that I had put, this is how it acts within the presence of the light. Okay, so that is a very minute thing that you need to visualize before you're able to put it on a material, before you're able to put that effect, give that effect to your material. So being good at V-Ray demands you to be a good designer also, I'd say that, or have a good visualization about what sort of materials you'll be using. Now that, and so if you go down and see that the bamboos are very well very well shown. So this is not exactly a bamboo, this is a balli. Okay, now a balli is a very natural piece of log of wood basically, and it has all sorts of textures on it. So if I just zoom into it, you'll be able to see these lines that are on the surface of this. Over here there's all those coin shaped marks on it and all. So that is how detailed you need to keep your render to make it look good in V-Ray. That is the beauty of it actually. The more detailed your view is, the more detailed your materials are, the more altered your elements are, the better it looks in your output, the better it looks in your view, the better the ready product would look. Alright, now let me just go back to the model. go back to the render presets, render asset editor. Now these are the kind of lights I have put on V-Ray. There's like almost 20-25 type of lights that I have already used on this software, just to make this one room look good. Okay, just to make this one room look good. Let me just show you a few renders from the different angles of it. So this one was this view. This is the front view, and this arch is on the right hand side of the main counter. So this is the brushed concrete, this is the brushed copper texture that I have used. Okay, brushed copper texture with all these Rajasthani stones is what makes the place look like it's come live. These are the inside views of it. Now you can always post process the views after your render is done. Like I have been experimenting with what Kalins to put on the top of the roof, and what all to do. There was supposed to be like a bar on the inside of here. So these are all experiments that I usually do as a designer. I usually do on my designs before I pitch it to my clients. Alright, I need to be satisfied with my designs before I let them see it. So this is how you work on V-Ray. This was a short gist. I hope you learned something new, and if you're looking to learn even more, you're always welcome to join these classes that I'll be teaching from the 26th. Let me know if there's anything I can guide you with. I'm always here on my page, Design Assist, and also I have an architecture firm which is linked to the same account by the name of Prism Design. You can contact me there. Thank you.